Hi, everybody. I want to explain two things before I start. Okay. The reason why I said so far is because, like I said, they're on a break for lunch right now, but they're coming back at 1 p.m. So there's going to be more testimony, more stuff to talk about after this. Which is why I usually wait until 2 p.m. And I think I give you the most in-depth recap I can. I mean, there's no way, unless I waited until I don't know 5 or 6 p.m. and then it becomes, can I remember every witness and exactly what they said? Because yeah, there was a smaller pool, but there was still a good amount of witnesses. Um, so this is why I'm doing it this way now, which is what I should have done, I guess, in the beginning. But you live and you learn. Okay. Okay. Day four, which I gotta say, this might be one of the shortest trials I think I've ever seen. Now, granted, I think it might go into next week, but even if it's 7 days, it's still even shorter than the Gutierrez trial. So, yeah. Okay. So let's get to the defendant. All right. So, big news. Big news. Um, the question is always, is the defendant going to testify on their own behalf? And a lot of people have a lot of different theories about whether you should do it or not. Okay, the first theory is nobody knows the truth better than you, and you can defend yourself. Okay, that's positive. Negative is, and I kind of already went through this in my own head just because that's how I operate. Okay, but she's accused of unaliving her husband. Okay, um, my ultimate question after that is why? And I I'm a very logical, analytical thinker. I just am. Always have been. So I go down the tree of why until I can't anymore. Okay, so she unalived her husband. Why? Uh, well, number one, uh, maybe she didn't like him. That's a theory. Okay, number two, maybe he was abusive to her. Okay, number three, maybe she wanted custody of their child, like full custody. Number three, um, I don't know. Maybe he threatened her life, and she thought that that was the only way to stop it. Number four, okay, and then I make a list in my head, and then I say, okay, but what's the real probability of that? Okay, well, or I go down the tree of why, but differently. Okay, um, but I still go with the okay, why? But you still ended up unaliving your husband. So why do you think you need to do that? Um, okay, because and this is how my mind works. You're getting a peek into how my mind works because a lot of people say, okay, if you just get whoever out of the picture, then you don't have to deal with it anymore. No, oh, okay, yes, but no, because this is how my mind works. Okay, great. So he's out of the picture, but the methodology you used might make you go into jail. So in that case, you lose custody anyway because nobody can take care of him from jail. Okay, and and the overarching theme for me is that no one is worth that. No one. There are too many people on the planet. But okay. All right. So I say all this because Bombshell, Ashley Benefield took the stand on her in her own defense. Uh, and I always have questions about why someone will want to do that because overall, I think what I was trying to get to is there's no good excuse for unaliving somebody. I don't care. Well, in my mind, the only good is self defense. And that's even questionable because you could go down and say you could do so many other things before that. So, yeah. Okay, so which I gotta say, I should have said this also because I kind of rate everybody in a way of okay, is this person does this person look credible, seem believable, um, you know, do they look right? How are they dressed? That kind of thing. I do all those things. Okay. And I haven't liked the defense attorney from day one. And I usually don't have strong feelings. I try to not have strong feelings about one side or the other. I try to go in as impartial as I can. But as soon as I heard this man talking, I was like, I don't like him because he's too aggressive. And then I know defense attorneys are supposed to argue. I understand attorneys argue, that's what they do. But this man was too argumentative, even for me. What is wrong with you? Which is it's not funny. Okay, this case is not funny. But I'm just saying that was my automatic reaction to this. Okay, so I got to put that in there because it's just a fact for me. I don't I don't like it. Okay, then plus you're trying to make your witness defendant appear likable, and you're unlikable. So okay. Also, I don't know. See, this is the variable I don't know because I don't know Ashley Benefield's regular speaking voice. I don't know that. Um, uh, because I would think that most people speak in a normal tone, not really quiet and reserved. But then again, I don't know. And I'm trying to not generalize. I really am not. All I'm saying is that when she got on the stand, I was like, oh my God, okay, she's on the stand. Then when she starts speaking, I'm like, okay, no, that has to be an act because no one speaks that low. Her attorney was trying to make her feel better, but he asked her, how are you feeling? And she said, nervous, which I understood that. But then he's like, okay, well, do the best you can. And then she continued to speak really softly, I mean, really softly, to the point where the jurors had to tell her to speak up. But at least this judge is better than the last judge, but I'll get into that in a minute. Okay. Um, okay. So he starts asking her all this stuff about her childhood and how did you grow up, how were your parents, yada yada yada. And I'm thinking to myself, what does this have to do with anything? But then I step back from it and I go, okay, he's trying to paint a picture of a person. We've seen it. I think you've seen it 1,000 times. Okay, where if the defendant goes on the stand, they try to portray the defendant as a person who would never do this thing that they're accused of doing. And there are many different tactics on how to do this, but usually it's oh, she would never hurt a fly, he would never hurt a fly thing, you know? Okay, so answering all the questions, and I'm like, okay, can we get to this point here? Um, so they finally get to it, and she went to a school that specializes in learning ballet. And of course, she was a ballerina, and they go into like do you dance still? And she's like, no, I got injured, yada, yada, yada. Okay. But I don't know. Throughout her whole testimony, which was 22 minutes, first of all, I have to be completely honest. I can only get through half of it because I just didn't believe her. Um, Number two, she did at the end have, and the reason why I know what she was like at the end is because I caught the trial when she was just about to exit the witness stand. So I happened to see a piece of tissue in her hand. So I guess she cried a little bit, but I'm telling you, for the most part of her testimony, she did not cry at all. No tears were shed, no sobbing, no having to blow your nose, none of that. So it reads to me like crocodile tears. That's just what I think. And I've seen it a million times, and I know what I'm talking about. They put on the tears when they think they have to, but they're not real. They don't come from a real emotional place. So I didn't believe her on the stand. And if you want my take on if it helped the trial or hurt it, she hurt herself by testifying. So that's my take on today so far. Now, like I said, the trial is supposed to start again at 1. So I'll probably do another video about, if there's anything else later on. But I want to keep it as up to date as possible. Okay? Bye, everybody.